So now we're going to be finding the volume of pyramids and cones. And so the volume for pyramids is 1/3 the base times the height. Again, the base is whatever your base shape is. So again, we're going to be talking about the fact that the base determines the shape. Okay. And then cones are 1/3 base times height. And again, the base is a circle. So you need to get your circle formula in there. So we're just going to take the two examples and work from there. So if we look at this example, we have 1/3 times the base. The base in this one is length times width, and then times the height of the figure, okay? Length times width times height. You can see based on this triangle, we don't know the height. So we actually have to use Pythagorean theorem. C squared equals A squared plus B squared to find the height. So our hypotenuse is 17 squared equals H squared plus, and then over here, if this entire length is 16, then this entire length is 16. But I only want this piece of it. So I would say that that's 8 and 8, right? Half and half. So I'm going to have 8 squared. So 17 squared is 289 equals H squared plus 64. To get H all by itself, we subtract the 64 from both sides. If you subtract 64 from one side, you subtract it from the other. So I have 225 equals H squared because that's a zero pair and they cancel. And then we square root both sides of the equation to get H by itself, and the square root of 225 is 15. So now I have 1/3 times the length times the width times the height. So 16 times 16 times 15 divided by 3 is 1280 meters cubed. Okay, let's look at the volume of the cone. So again, 1/3 base. The base is a circle, so pi r squared times height. So the radius is going to be half of 13, so 15 and 15. So 1/3 times pi times the radius 15 squared times the height of the figure, which we have, that's 25. Multiply it all out, 5,890.5 feet cubed. Okay, let's practice a couple. We have 3 example problems. Scroll the page up, and we'll go ahead and try those. So there's our 3 practice problems. Let's look at the first one. 1/3 the base times the height. The base is a circle, so pi r squared h. Okay, radius is half, 3 and 3, right? 3 and 3, and I have my height at 11. So 1/3 times pi times 3 squared times height 11. Multiply that all out, you get 103.7 inches cubed. Remember, when you are calculating this, you need to do 3 squared first and get 9 and then multiply. You could do pi times 9 times 11 and then divide it by 3. You should be able to get that same answer. Okay, over here, I have 1/3 times base times height. My base this time is a rectangle, so length times width times height. So I have length of 10, width of 10, and I do not have my height over here. I don't know what the height is. I do know that that piece is 5 if it's half of the side. So I'm going to plug in what I do know. I have length 10, width 10. Height is what I need to solve for. H, 12, 5. So again, good old Pythagorean theorem, 12 squared equals h squared plus 5 squared. 12 times 12, 144 equals h squared plus 25. To get the h squared by itself, I subtract a 25 from both sides. And on this side, I have 119 equals h squared, and then I have to square root both sides. That will undo the h squared and get h all by itself, and the square root of 119 is roughly 10.9. So then I plug in my 10.9. So I have 10.9 times 10 times 10 times 1/3. So my answer for number 2 is 363.3 meters cubed. And the last one is a little bit tricky because I have actually two figures here. I have the top, which is a pyramid. Okay, and the formula for that is going to be 1/3 the base times the height, and the base is length times width. So 1/3 length times width times height. Okay, looks like I have my height of 9, so I'm going to be able to do this. 1/3 times length, 24, times width, 24, times the height, 9. Because if this is 24, then this is 24. And if this is 24, then this is 24. So I have everything I need up here. So the pyramid itself is 1,728. Okay? And then I have to find this, which is my base times height. So this is just my regular cube, base times height. Base is length times width times height. So 24 times 24 times the height of 15. That worked out pretty easily as well. 8,640. And then, of course, I need to put them together. So when I add those two together, I get a total of 10,368 feet cubed. And that is the volume for those figures.